Beans and legumes are nutritional powerhouses. They're high in antioxidants, protein, B vitamins, iron, magnesium, potassium, copper and zinc. They're digested slowly, stabilise our blood sugar, contain soluble fibre, which lowers cholesterol levels, and they contain a wide range of cancer-fighting plant chemicals, specifically isoflavones and phytosterols, which are associated with reduced cancer risk. But one of the main complaints against beans is the fact that they can cause a lot of gas and discomfort for some people. Now, soaking the beans overnight before cooking can help. This study looked at how soaking before cooking impacted the levels of gas-inducing compounds in the beans. They used either plain water or water mixed with baking soda, soaking the beans in each for either 6 or 12 hours. And the researchers found that soaking them for 12 hours removed the most gas-inducing compounds in either solution. But is there a downside to soaking beans? Are there certain beans and legumes that produce less gas? Well, let's hear now from Dr. Joel Fuhrman and Dr. Michael Greger. The audio quality isn't great, so there are subtitles available.
When you eat beans regularly, you build up the bacteria that stay in you all the time that make it easier for you to ingest beans. The reason beans cause flatulence is because people don't eat them regularly and haven't built enough of the bacteria to break down the resistant starches in beans. Even if you soak them, you wouldn't want to remove the resistant starch anyway, because butyrate is an important fatty acid that has anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer effects and reduces the risk of colon cancer. You wouldn't want to even take Beano with the bean because you don't want to break down the resistant starch before you eat it. You want your own body to have to deal with it. It's better for you to learn how to digest beans. After a while, you eat them every day. You may not have fun of having so much gas, but if a person doesn't handle it well, then you give them a smaller and smaller and smaller amount of beans, but you still have them eat it very, very frequently. You titrate down to that level of bean intake, which they can deal with comfortably. But you don't take beans out of their diet, then you give them a tablespoon or a teaspoon of it twice a day then. And then you can start increasing it over time, but we want people to be able to tolerate beans. So
it's important for people who have been slathering the insides of their guts with milkshakes and cheeseburgers their whole lives. When you start moving towards a more plant-based diet, to a healthier diet, you need to give your gut bacteria, your gut flora, a time to shift over, to start fostering the growth of these fiber-eating bacteria so you can get the benefits without gastrointestinal upset. So it can be a slow process in terms of slowly adding legumes to your diet. Typically, canned chickpeas are less gas-forming. Lentils tend to be better for people. But again, you may have to start slow until ramping up to finally get to the American Institute for Cancer Research recommendation of eating legumes or whole grains 3 times a day. So like beans at every meal, ideally. So there are certain legumes, for example, that are less gas-producing than others. I have a blog called Clearing the Air, Beans and Gas, something like that. Check it out. I have a whole bunch of practical suggestions. So, for example, chickpeas tend to be less gas-producing. Some like hummus, lentils are less. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of things you can do. You can also add these little enzyme drops that eat up the indigestible sugars that cause gas from beans, if worse comes to worst. But the most important thing is to maintain your legume intake. I recommend 3 servings a day in my daily dozen.
Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below and subscribe for more upcoming videos.